It's music recommendations time. We haven't done this in
Yeah.
4 months where we just talk about our favorite or artists we haven't had a chance to talk about on Audioface who have released music that maybe we've missed because we have limitations that we've talked about over and over again. But anyways, I have 5 recommendations. Sean has 5 recommendations. We'll go back and forth between them. I'll start things off with Modus Vivendi. It's an album by 070 Shake. She's a really interesting, I believe she's American and maybe even from New Jersey. But she's a really interesting like R&B, I'd say like a trap and B kind of artist. Except nothing in here is really trap at all. It's definitely more the R&B side of things. I would basically almost call her like a female Weekend, but that's like almost selling her short a little bit. Um, she there's songs that are kind of it's mostly electronic and like song production because once you get to R&B it can kind of sound anything. And as for themes, it's not necessarily about like any comprehensive theme or moment. It's just like existence and beings and these songs that really kind of go well together. It has that kind of underlying pounding like synth bass that you're kind of
Mhm.
used to from Weekend songs, but definitely doesn't overdo it. Um, and even at times, I can say it sounds like randomly poppy, but I think it's just like trying to have like some pop hits on there. Um, Morrow is a really like poppy song on there. It has a really like catchy hook, like I don't want to be here tomorrow, but
Mhm.
it's just a really kind of like fun song on there. But even you get other songs that I think have like a lot of passion and interest and like a little bit of a twist to them, like Divorce, which is a deep-ish song,
Mhm.
but it's also like very playful. And so the great thing about 070 Shake, 070 Shake, whatever we're gonna do this one,
Zero
um,
70 shake is that's how I
whack
would say
with
your
a
name.
six,
Oh
um,
my yeah.
is that like you're kind of kept guessing in a good way as you
Mhm.
listen to every single song on this album. And it overall comes out as a very, very strong product. So if you're looking for kind of something R&B-ish, almost in the realm of like that new trend of trap and B, like
Yeah.
IDK is. But IDK is way more rappy than this. This is not really rappy. This is a lot of
Doesn't
singing.
sound it right now.
But I really much enjoy it. Um,
Cool.
with that, Sean, what do you got?
I have Big Black Delta. That's a name of an artist that I like.
BBD.
Yes. He released a single called Summoner this March, and it's fan fucking tastic. It's this big electronic bath of music. Um, I think he's releasing an album this year, and I really hope he does. Because my big thing with him is he sounds like he's the closest to Jai Paul that you can get without straight up copying Jai Paul's sound. A more refined version of it. Because if you go to like his previous stuff, his album that came out 2013, the self-titled Big Black Delta, you have songs like Hugging and Kissing, Money Rain Down, Capsized. Those songs have that style of it into it. But then I didn't hear much about him ever since that album in 2013. I didn't realize he released something until Sumner came out, and it just came on one of my lists or something. I'm like, whoa, what the hell is this? I'm like, wait, I haven't heard about him in a long time. I thought he stopped making music, and it's a fucking really good single. He also has Quid Pro Quo as a single as well. So there's little things coming out. So it looks like he's gonna be releasing an album this year, but I didn't find this out until April. So that's something that when he releases it, I will definitely give it a review on here. But I wanted to get that out to the people because it's pretty good.
Yeah, I was just listening to it, and it sounds. I guess I still have like Weekend in my head, but there was like a Daft Punk song.
Yeah, it's like Summoner is mixing Daft Punk and Jai Paul's synths together.
No, it was the Weekend
Like
song that was on Black Panther, but that
yeah, yeah.
yeah. But again, like not to not to taint Big Black Delta with the Weekend. It is really nice sounding, based on what I've just heard. Um, my pick, Unlocked by Denzel Curry and
Oh
Kenny
yeah.
Beats. It is it's a drop. It's really short. It's about
Mm-hmm.
18 minutes long, eight
I've heard
songs,
part of it.
and it feels a little bit like almost like the Soul Trash Tori Moi album, where like all the album
Yeah.
titles are like incomplete and they show like, oh, this is version 2 of this. And what does it sounds like? What if a rapper kind of like Old Dirty Bastard and a producer kind of like Danger Mouse got together and made something that kind of sounds like one of those like golden era of rap indie kind of records. Like back, I mean, I'm referring to like Mad Villainy and Food, where there's like a cartoonish motif in the background, especially like old school cartoons, to kind of add to the aspect of just general debauchery that's going on. It like almost feels like Death Grips and just how it's random and constantly coming at you. But even more than Zoo, Denzel Curry is just kind of playing up his like, I'm going to like yell about these things and make it sound really good. But unlike Zoo, which is very much of a trap album, it has that motif of rap based on these like comic book characters that is like fucking around and doing fun things. There's a lot of stuff on here that's just like crazy. Let me see if this no. Take It Back is the one I can think of at first that just kind of gets you into the crazy sort of weird sound of it. It's just always going off. It's just hard to really track as a song. My favorite actually is Cosmic. It's at the very end, and it just sounds like an old school, just like you'd listen to in the late 90s, just like hip hop beat. But one of my favorite lines is that like they shoot in VR, we got guns in reality.
That's hilarious. That's a bar.
It's such a good bar. But yeah, all of these are just really kind of fun songs, and even though like the titles make it seem like it's not finished, it feels finished enough. So it works really well. And then so incredible. The other thing, Denzel Curry is just super braggadocious on this album, so I really love it. But Take It Back and Cosmic are like some of my favorites. Next,
so I have Heaven to a Tortured Mind by Yves Tumor. I think that's how you say his name.
I've heard of Evas Tumor.
He released a few albums here or there, but this album came out in but I really like his sound in general. It's this really dark alternative experimental rock is the best way I can explain Yves Tumor. He's very broad, he's out there a lot, but it's always really dark theme, but I like it. There's a song Noid that came out in 2018 that's what introduced me to him, and I'm like, holy shit, this is a really good song. But his album Heaven to a Tortured Mind, there's a couple songs in here that are fucking amazing. You have Medicine Burn, which sounds like Tame Impala and the Horrors combined together.
Oh fuck yes.
Medicine Burn is a song. You have Kerosene exclamation point, which has one of my like it's this duet going on back and forth with this beautiful guitar work in the background. The production of it, everything in it just is amazing.
What song was that?
Kerosene is the one with the duet.
Yes.
You have Strawberry Privilege, which has this funk groove beat to it. This album is crazy. There's so much into it where I didn't realize he released an album in February. I was like, shit, I kind of wanted to get into it. So I may do a thing at the end of the year where we just go into like albums we've missed, and like I want Dan to listen to this album because there's a lot to this. But that's what I want to put on my music.
What we could do is just like a short follow-up thing, like next episode, where it's just like, oh, I really quickly heard the songs that you recommended, and vice versa. Here, like my quick thoughts.
We might be able to do that. Yeah,
we could do. I mean, maybe not next week, but we'll have some time.
Yeah. Because this is that's definitely an album that can be on lists for stuff because it is very unique. There's a lot of different sounds on there that I want different opinions on as well, other than my own. So, yeah, go listen to it. He's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like really intense. And not a bad way, but like really fun.
Oh, it is.
My next pick, my third recommendation is Dan Deacon. He is a psychedelic, up and coming psychedelic rock kind of thing, but much in the same way Tame Impala was like that, where the influences definitely come from psychedelic, but he's bringing in new things like synthesizers and stuff. Mystic Familiars, his latest album, it came out in late January, and it's about 45 minutes long. On Spotify, there's two versions of it on 2 discs, as one has edits of it. But this is something you should absolutely listen to all the way through with your elixir of choice or drug of choice or whatever, because it's just like a psychedelic journey from beginning to end. There's some Netflix show by Duncan Trussell that's coming out on 420 that looks super trippy, and I feel like this is just like the background music to all of
Duncan Trussell, anything Duncan Trussell does, he's like, more acid, please.
But like even the beginning, Become a Mountain kind of starts with this gradual thing, and then brings everything. It brings synth, it brings rock elements to it. It's just really, really nice as it's coming through. Even has a nice piano thing. But the coup de grace of the entire album is, I guess, called ARP. It's this 4-piece song, and it's divided into 4 actual songs.
Oh, that's cool.
Part 1 is Wide Eyed, Part 2 is Float Away, Part 3 is Far From Shore, and Part 4 is Any Moment. Art Part 3 is the best electronic thing I've heard this year. Full stop.
Jesus.
The album version, not the edit. Part 3.
Part 3.
It starts with like a jazzy thing as it's kind of continuing out into that. And then the song just sort of builds up into this psychedelic rock, synth infused, just like plethora, massive thing. I could compare it to like 8 or 9 different of like my favorite electronic artists just making something happen at once.
There's a lot of sounds in this.
And even with all those sounds, it works really well and cohesively. All those sounds coming together creates a bliss point that isn't like the build up, drop bliss point. It's just so beautiful. And so I didn't expect to find one of my favorite electronic pieces in the midst of the psychedelic rock album thing. But it is incredible in that sense that he's able to pull it off. It's like a tragedy that more people are not listening to Dan Deacon.
I've heard a few songs from his last album that came out in 2015. Because I was looking through, I'm like, I think I've heard this guy before, and I was popped on some stuff. I did a little bit, but I didn't realize he released anything new.
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna listen to this album.
It was one of those things that's like, oh, it's come out, but it's also a super busy week, so we missed it. But like,
yeah, it's like Evas Tumor is kind of the same thing.
Yeah, so Music Rex it for.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up.
So I have 3 EP by Jamie Isaac, and this has one of my favorite electronic songs this year so far, which is Next to Me, which has made it onto my 2020 list. It's one of the very first things I put on here. I've heard some of his stuff before. Also, this EP is Jamie Isaac and Nosaj thing.
Nosaj thing?
Yeah.
Nosaj. Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, thank you. Exactly. But Next to Me is a track that I think Dan would like. Made, and I know are also good things in here too. So like the production of it, there's a lot of different sounds into this EP that I like a lot. And I've been coming back to it like a bunch this year. So it's something I wanted to get into more people. Jamie Isaac isn't known too well from what I've heard before, but I know he should be coming out with an album either at the end of this year or early next year, I'm pretty sure, is what he said. Because his last album came out in 2018, which I listened to a little bit and I did like. But the 3 EP, I was like, holy shit, there's a lot of good things in this album. So, love it.
Yeah, I cannot wait to check that out.